Welcome to another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. I am joined every single week by a group of wonderful people. I am Kevin McLemore. I am your host. I am joined with my beloved friends, Andrea Lyman, actress, head of SAG over there in Boston. I'm also joined by another actor, David Curtis. He is another member of the Secret Society of Black Creatives and a working actor. I'm also joined with my co-host, Denise Lopes. She is author, educator, just wonderful person, poet, as you know it, and that go-to guy, entrepreneur, entertainer, entrepreneur, Ife. My brother, my son, but I don't know how you say it when you bring someone into your life, but it's someone that you choose. This show was originally created from the more than 300 quotes that I created for the contents of my books. And over the 40 years of studying human behavior, I had always been curious of how one quote was interpreted or perceived by another person. Was it just a word or words that lay there on the page, or where there's a conversation to be had? We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And each one of us, depends on which day of the week, brings out a quote, and we talk about it based on our interpretation and perceptions. We talk about that. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast. Our mission is to, through story, inspire, uplift, share experiences and perspectives using the framework of learning, teaching, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. So with that said, today's quote is brought to us by, what did I say her name was? Wendy Mass, M-A-S-S. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. And since I'm bringing this quote in today, I am going to share. If you notice, I've changed my background from our branded logo of Talking with Kevin and Friends, which Ife is sporting, because we're all going through something during the course of our lifetime. And you know, we meet people during the course of a day. So I'm going to share a little story with this that made me think about this. A well-dressed man walked into a post office and he said good morning to a total stranger. That stranger replied, "I just lost everything I owned in the stock market." The well-dressed man said, "I'm sorry to hear. I will pray for you and hope that things get better for you." The young man just smirked and went about his business. Never did he know that the well-dressed man never disclosed that he had just lost his grandfather, and he had just discovered hours before going into the post office, his wife had promised her love to another. Every single time we pass by someone is either going through something in life that they're celebrating. Someone is either going through life with something that they're dealing with, or someone is either going through something in life that they're struggling with. So with that said, I always say every time you see someone, stand up and be kind to someone, because if nothing else, you're helping to rise humanity. So with that said, Denise, the poet, educator,
Yeah,
how does that quote land on you?
this quote is heavy. It landed really hard on me because I'm gonna cry. Um, I lost two friends, and this last July I lost my uncle to suicide, and we did not know what he was going through. Like, he was happy, he was always the one helping everybody. And when it came to him, nobody knew because we didn't know what he was going through. So last year I went to Cape Verde. I was going to celebrate my mom's 60th birthday. We going to his island, pick him up, and for us to go meet in the other island that my mom was. He spoke with them like a day before that, and everything was fine. And after he took his own life, and I had a friend too that took his own life, and he called all 10 of his like boys. Nobody picked up, and he committed suicide. And after, it was just like he was around a lot of people. Nobody knew what he was going through, and he couldn't talk to anyone. So for me, it's like just a simple good morning to someone, how you doing? It will change somebody's day. And I try to do that every day. I try to check on people. Just a simple good morning. Like some of you, I send a good morning. I have to add Andrea and David to that good morning. I say a protection prayer before I say it, before I send it. Even if you don't respond, I'm just letting you know that I'm thinking about you. So that's a thing I started, 10 years ago doing that.
Yeah.
So.
And believe it or not, for those of you that are just tuning in and catching up, Denise sends out a something very positive every single morning to her circle of friends. And I am very grateful. A lot of times I respond with a smile or thank you, because sometimes it hits me at a high, and other times it hits me where I'm just thinking. And so I wanted to appreciate that. In the universe, we just celebrated the SAG Awards, and many have issues of who won and who shouldn't have won, but that's like any other competition. We all have our interpretation, what's right and what's wrong. But I do want to say, send my condolences out to an actor, a beloved actor that's known for The Wire, his part in the John Wick movie. Lance Reddick passed away at 60 years of age. We want to extend our condolences to his family, his friends, his co-worker, or anyone he has touched. He was a very talented man and gift to this world. So we want to send our condolences from RMK Productions and our family. So with that said, moving on with the quote, Ife, how does that land on you?
Well, everyone has their own trials and tribulations, and oftentimes what we see is what people are putting out there, but not necessarily everything that they're going through. So when I see the quote, it kind of gives me motivation to not be judgmental of somebody, to use empathy and sympathy where it calls for it. People are going through all types of stuff. There's mental health issues. There are people that have anxiety about being in a social setting. So it's really about kindness. Can you be kind to somebody? Can we be a little bit understanding? Can we step back or sometimes out of ourselves and try to really understand the totality of a situation? Sometimes it's like you have to look for small signs and be like, maybe I didn't notice that, maybe you noticed somebody didn't show up for a meeting, or they're usually talkative and they're not. So we really just have to be kind, because everybody has something that they're going through, where some ill-advised saying or just ignoring them or thinking something is wrong with them could very well push them over the edge. So instead of just saying, oh, something's wrong with that person, I'm gonna find out. Let's say, well, something's wrong with this person. Let me see what they're going through, and hopefully they can be here with us, or hopefully I can motivate them or encourage them, you know. Kind of goes in with one of the hashtags you used, Kevin, finding 1,000 reasons to be kind. And if we did that, the world would be a better place, because, you know, there's so much going on currently, presently, that if we're kind to one another, it makes our days go smoother, and then we can be the light to somebody else's day.
That's all right. I love when you speak, Ife, because you say so few words, but you say a lot. Love your brothers. So for those of you that are just joining in, the quote for the day is to be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you may know nothing about. And that's by Wendy Mass and Andrea. I know a lot is going on in your life. How does this quote land on you?
Well, it's a perfect quote for right now. My Aunt Joyce is visiting us from North Carolina, and she is the role model for kindness. She's always been my role model for how to be an aunt, and just how to live in this world. I wish I could be the way Aunt Joyce is. She's always kind and loving and generous, and yet her life has been difficult all along. As a young teen, she married an abusive man, had 5 kids and had a really, really hard time until finally, they were divorced. But through all of this, most people didn't know anything was going on because she was still her kind self. But I look at the way she is with other people, and something goes wrong or whatever, and she'll say, well, such and such, and it'll be something so beautiful, her thoughts, and how she reaches out to help people at all times, sees when somebody is the least bit distressed, and helps them. I don't mean to say that she's like, oblivious or anything. I mean, she certainly sees what's going on in the world, and she certainly sees folks that you need to not pay attention to, and all of that kind of stuff. But just the opening her heart and giving generously to people, whether they're strangers or new friends or family, she sees people and she gives. And I would love to be like that. So.
Boy, I wish I was there to give your aunt a hug. All right. You're so lucky.
She would embrace it.
You're so lucky to have someone like that in life. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners have someone. And if you haven't gotten up this morning to hug someone, please do so. Dave Curtis, okay? The man, I mean, he's doing a commercial with his dad. How many times we get a chance to do something like that? Oh, nothing but love to you, David. Dad, congratulations, getting out there in the world, his first acting job. Dave, how does this quote land on you? I mean, it's actually very fitting. You get an opportunity, and you bring your dad into the same opportunity. That's big for a son to a father instead of father to the son. So let's talk about the quote for you.
Every time someone brings that up, whether it's blood family or chosen family, I get a little choked up about the commercial with my dad. It's meaningful on a whole lot of levels, as you could probably imagine, because my dad was my hero up until I was a teenager. And then he wasn't my hero for a few years because of some family stuff that happened. And he slowly but surely became my hero again as I was, in my 20s, 30s, 40s. So this is like very fitting for us to have this opportunity. The quote lands to me. The first thing that I thought of, I was preparing, getting my coffee ready this morning, and I thought of it was a time where I didn't have a filter. That's why when I speak, sometimes I'm thinking before I speak, because at one time it would just all come out. And that's not a good way to be. And I've learned through trial and error to have measured speech and not to say the first thing that rolls into my gray matter. And I had said something. It wasn't unkind. It just wasn't filtered. And I saw how it made someone feel. And I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, oh my God. And this was over 20 years ago. And it was someone that I didn't really know, but it comes back to me. And it was just a lesson on, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. If you can't say something uplifting, don't say anything at all. And it was a good lesson. And it's why, to this day, I try to practice that about just saying something nice, because like the quote said, you never know what someone is going through. And Denise, to speak on you losing your brother, it was your brother, right? Or was it your
uncle?
Your uncle. I know what that's like. In 1997, I lost my brother to suicide, and there were all these questions. When he had passed away, I remember the family going to the hospital and viewing the body, and it was like it all came rushing back to me about how he what he meant to me, and I like collapsed in tears, and I was done. You know, it was like a movie. It played like a movie. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to play basketball. He taught me how to tie a tie. He taught me about finances. He taught me about dressing, about what to say to a girl. So he was essentially like my dad. He's my older brother by about, I think it was like 13 years. And all of that stuff came back to me. But no one knew what he was going through. No one knew the battles that he was facing, and we're still trying to figure that out. We knew that he was dealing with depression. That's one of the things that he was going through. But if only, more people could have said a kind word that week before he had taken his own life, maybe the outcome would have been different, Anyways, I could go on and on about that, but that's how it lands. That quote lands to me.
Yeah, I have a tattoo on my wrist. It has the heart and the semicolon. I got that for him. That was my Christmas gift.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Well, it never escapes me, the moments and experiences I've had and are having on the show, with sharing not only my time, my life, with so many incredible, wonderful people. And this quote, I think for our listeners listening in, is probably making you think. And I've always said education is not designed to make you comfortable. It's designed to make you think. Think about that aunt that always seems to have a good word and whatever. Sometimes when you pull back the curtain, the story may not be as pretty as it's being presented. Give your auntie a hug. Give your nephew a hug. Give your mother, your brother, your best friend, your neighbor a hug. It doesn't take a lot to be kind. It's probably the only thing that we can invest in that has a multiplier on the return. And we give it without asking for anything in return. I've always told people, and I say this, there is 86,400 seconds in a day, 186 hours in a week. What is more important to you is not what you're planning to do tomorrow, or what happened to you yesterday, or what you didn't get around to doing today. It's whatever your answer is when you're trying to find out your truth to your life. Please keep in mind, life happens in seconds. Tomorrow's the future, so that does not exist. Yesterday is history. So whatever you did, said, or didn't do can't be done, can't be edited or changed. I've learned that rich people invest in time. Poor people invest in things. Kind people invest in humanity. Decide on your place and where you want to be. So with that said, I'm going to go around the horn real quick, and we're going to find out what everyone's up to. I know that there's a lot going on that from the secret society of Black creatives. Andrea, would you like to give us some updates on what's happening with you guys? Because I know some things are coming up that include me, and I'm excited and nervous about it also.
We're having a big event industry-wide on April 22nd, and we're inviting people from all parts of the industry, and we're going to talk about what it is to be in our film industry and all the different types of jobs. And then we're going to have breakout groups where people can find out, oh, what do electrics do on a set? What hair and makeup, and then there's going to be a whole acting workshop. David will be running part of that, and also Naheem. And it's like a huge thing for that. And then the other thing that's coming up, that's not for a while, but still, Roxbury International Film Festival is having their 25th year, the Silver Celebration. Yay! June 20th through 28th. And they're going to start with a big gala and open up the streets in Nubian Square, and have all kinds of artists showing their films and dancing and singing and awards, and that's the opening, and then it'll continue with many films and events and workshops.
All right. DL, Denise Slopes, what's going on in your part of it?
Hi, I just got accepted to the Northeastern PhD program, so Doctor of Education. So I
Right.
start in September, and my district did not have a newcomers program for the ESL kids. I went to meet with the superintendent. I was like, we need one. So I just got the job to start that in September.
Congratulations,
So
congratulations.
that's all I'm looking for now.
David Curtis, what's up with you?
Oh my goodness. So I'll get right to the point. I have a 3:00 meeting today because I've been referred to from a good friend of mine to be a stage manager, producer for this live event. And even though I do film and TV and directing and writing and acting, live events are like kind of scary. I think I've done like assistant stage management, and I've done sound for live events and maybe some lights here and there, but I've never produced a live event. So this live event is the Department of Peace. It's something with if you look up Keith Benson, he's a drummer, but he's known throughout the world for being a part of MFSB, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother. It's the sound of Philly. He's a drummer who's played on a lot of that stuff. And we're like buddies now. I'm like, okay. So this live event is April 15th at Harvard, and one of the speakers is Cornell West. And I'm producing and stage managing this event. We have a meeting today to design the show. It's a quick turnaround, but it's out of my comfort zone because, like I said, I'm not used to doing that. In addition to a film I have to finish this week, coming up Friday, and then prepping for a shoot where I'm doing sound for 5 days on a short that's being shot in Brockton. Read the script last night, and it's really, really great. In addition to the commercial with my dad, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm involved in, including the Secret Society of Black Creatives, doing an actors workshop audition clinic.
All right.
Yes.
Congratulations. I got to break into that secret society. I like to learn a little bit more about that. Ife, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just another beautiful day in the Carolinas. For myself personally, it's stepping out of my cocoon, because the past few months, and Kevin can attest to this. He's like, Ife, where are you? And I'm like, I'm here. And he's like, come on. So I'm basically stepping out of the cocoon for myself personally. Got a few opportunities coming up within the next few days, and just looking to get back to my more vibrant, useful self. But other than that, everything's good over here. Appreciate these conversations. I thank Denise for those morning text messages. I'm one in that party, and I may not always respond. But when I do respond to her, I just appreciate her for everything. Because some mornings that text is probably the best thing that's happened to me. So yeah.
That's all right. So to our listeners, I want to say thank you. There's so much going on, and so with these wonderful people that volunteer their time to co-host this show with me, I am extremely grateful. And it just makes me happy every single Sunday when we show up. Sometimes we show up with 2, sometimes we show up with a lot, but these guys are consistent players, and they donate their time, their mental aptitude, and their heart and their love to this show for you. So hopefully our listeners appreciate what we bring to you. Hopefully you will share what we've given you, and hopefully you will subscribe and follow us at RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page. It doesn't take a lot. If you notice, I changed my background today from our branded Talking with Kevin and Friends. Going forward with all of my books, I've always made sure and I've committed that my books are not about me. I'm sharing my gifts to the rest of the world. And so each of my book covers will have people that are closest to me in my life. I was lucky enough, like you, David, to have my son, the tallest one in this picture, in the photograph with me, and my better half at that time, in the photograph with me. And so these were people that are important, some of my closest friends. My acting job, I've acted with my oldest son, which I cried like a baby in the background when I saw him do his first acting job. So I know how you feel. And for you men, it doesn't take anything away from any of us in order to allow your eyes to sweat every now and then. I didn't say cry, I say sweat. So however you identify it. And two, the rose of all rose, the women, our mothers, grandmothers, sisters, and whatever, this world would not have the landscape it does without you. So with that said, we as men, we are responsible for protecting you. We are responsible for promoting you. We're responsible for inspiring you. And we're also responsible for stepping back to the background and letting you shine. So with that says, find 1,000 reasons to be kind to someone. And with that said, we'll fade to black and we're out.